coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you? I always love to get a sense for where everybody is in the world. And hopefully we won't have a lot of barking here, but I wouldn't swear to it here. I'm in Virginia visiting my dad, who's 94, and trying to look after him a little bit. And we have been enjoying the weather. It's a little cooler here in Virginia than it is in Tampa, Florida. But today I wanted to share like a little bit about what's going on with the whole Instagram thing. Instagram is going by way of Facebook. I'm just going to keep it real with you. They're definitely going the same route, and it makes sense because guess who owns Instagram? Facebook. So as Instagram has grown, they're slowly but surely starting to tighten the reins on the algorithm, and they're putting in place systems and, tightening things up to where the best content based on a lot of different factors is surfaced for the end user. They're all about the end user's experience. But it can be tough on those of us who are trying to be seen and be found, right? You might have used to have gotten, 100 likes on one of your posts on Instagram, and now today it's like crickets over there. So there's been a ton of talk. As you guys probably have known, in fact, I have been shouting it from the rooftops too. Like, Instagram is such a great opportunity right now. Instagram stories, Instagram IGTV, which is what we're going to talk about today, guys, is huge because there's so much opportunity in Instagram or IGTV. And I said it right. Sometimes I'll say HGTV. So, if I interchange those, just ignore me. I mean IGTV. But there's been a little bit of, or a lot of confusion around, how do you use it, et cetera. And so I'm in the middle, in all transparency, I'm in the middle of putting all my strategies in place to really start to leverage both YouTube and Instagram's or IGTV stories as well. Been dragging my feet a little bit on that. I wanted to have all my stuff in order before I really, got out there. It's IGTV I've never posted on yet. So I really wanted to get things streamlined before I started, creating a bunch of content. Although I have been creating content the last couple of weeks so that I'll be ready when we roll it out. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today is really what the opportunity that IGTV brings to you from the standpoint of getting found and being seen and ultimately having more people buy your products and services. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kim Garst. I am an online business strategist. I love helping people grow their businesses. Shortening the learning curve is like my super jam. I love that. I love sharing knowledge and things that are working for me or that I see working for others. And hopefully you can run out and put those in place in your business. That's my passion. I'm super excited about sharing knowledge, and it's something that really drives me. And I just have a couple of quick favors to ask of you. If you, as we're going along, you have an aha moment, I would love it if you just type in #aha. And let me know what your aha moment is. That would be amazing. It's super helpful for me to know what's really resonating and maybe what you didn't know. So that's, again, that may be an opportunity to dig into it a little more and give more knowledge back to you guys around those things. So if you do that for me, pretty please, I would really, really appreciate it. And if you're watching on the replay, if you'll just type in #replay so I know to catch up on those comments at a later point in time. So that's just my quick thing. So as I shared with you, I'm in the middle of trying to figure out this whole IGTV thing. And my friend Shalene Johnson, many of you may know her. She's pretty, I was starting to say she's pretty famous, but I guess maybe I should say she's uber famous. And she's a real rock star on Instagram and has been for a long time. She's got a bajillion followers, and she's really active with stories, and again, she's been leveraging IGTV for probably 6 months or so. So she's led the way, and she's been sharing a lot of her knowledge. And so recently she came out with a brand new opt-in. She's sharing basically how you can leverage the power of IGTV and why. So basically her point around IGTV, and my point, and this is one of the reasons I want to share it with you, is that IGTV is giving us, it's giving us a new opportunity. It's kind of like Facebook Live when it first came out. You know, when Facebook Live first came out, everybody's like, oh my gosh, you got to do Facebook Live because they're pushing all this additional reach your way and you need to be using it, because if you're not, then you're missing out, because guess what? The rest of your content's not getting seen, right? You've probably heard those. And it's kind of like deja vu, because that's where we are with IGTV right now. Is the opportunity with IGTV is that a lot of opportunity is happening around it. You know, your content's being seen, you're being found a lot more, and it's video. So boom, we all know that video is so much more impactful than, you know, just a regular photo. It's just a fascinating dynamic, and it's not going away. So we might as well embrace it. And so anyway, going back to the story real quick. So I have been like digging in and trying to learn, and with her new opt-in, and I'm going to give it to you guys so you can go get it too. But I wanted to pull out some of the things that really resonated with me, and things that I'm going to immediately pull into my strategies, so that you can do the same. And maybe we can go on this journey together to get up and running and doing amazing things on IGTV. Yeah, just drop the link on the screen, and we will, that way you guys can go check it out for yourself too. Like I say, I'm sharing some of my takeaways from this amazing little report that she put together. But the first thing, and I just made some quick notes, so I'm just going to run through them for you guys. She talked about the focus feature. So guys, have you ever seen those like uber cool videos and like the background's like faded and the focus point is the person that's talking, and you're like, how do they do that? Well, you don't know how much time and energy I have spent trying to Google this stuff. Like, you know, I know you can do it with a DSLR. Okay, I got that. But who wants to carry around a DSLR all the time, right? So that camera, you know, the big camera, just in case you don't know what a DSLR is. So I'm like, all right. So is there an app for this stuff? And then I knew that, of course, there was the focus feature on Instagram, but I'm like, well, you can't use it like that, because you can, Instagram stories are only like, you know, 15 seconds long. So how are you going to record something that's got any length to it with using the focus feature? So the big thing that I took away from her, and she goes into detail about it in the actual report that I just dropped the link in for you guys. But she talks about how you can record 2-minute segments using the focus feature on the Instagram Story app, which is literally, you just go to Instagram Stories inside of your app, and you click there's options down at the bottom. You click on focus and you press. You have to hold the record button down. Just keep holding it down, or you can use a Bluetooth if you have one, if you want to be hands-free like me. I talk with my hands. If you want to do that, leveraging that, then you can record 2-minute segments. And you know, now you've got a 2-minute clip, and it basically clips them into 15-second increments. So you do have to download those 15-second increments and stitch them back together. So it's you know, there's that, but it's a great way to create some super professional looking video without the bells and whistles of having a DSLR camera, essentially. And you can do it in 2-minute increments. So record for 2 minutes and then rinse and repeat. Go back and record for 2 more minutes, or as however long it is that you want to share something, you know. Download those clips, and then you can pull them into a video tool on your phone, by the way, and I'm going to talk to you about that in just a moment. Stitch it back together, and then you can you know, render that video as one video. Those 15-second increments are just kind of mashed together seamlessly, by the way. So it's not like, you know, chop, chop, chop. You know, it doesn't look like a chop. In other words, it looks very seamless, and it looks just like you sat down and recorded a video. So what do y'all think of that? Does that sound like I can do that? I want to know, do you feel like that is something you can do? I would love to get some feedback on that. I'm just looking real quick I've been trying to keep track of the comments online too, just to see if there's any. we're doing these, I have a production crew. I'm managing all these now. So I'm like, okay, I can't see all the fans' comments. They can. So I'm trying to get to where I can see them too. So excellent, excellent. So point being is I'm trying to share stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought about doing it that way. So it was like an eye opener for me to realize that I could sit down and use this cool feature inside of Instagram and have this uber cool look, more of a professional look versus, worrying about, trying to do it with some fancy equipment. So does that make sense? And does that sound like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do that? Is that an aha moment, essentially, is what I'm asking. So that was one thing. Now, another thing she talked about is when you do this, when you're sitting down and you want to record and you hit the record button, you want to leave some headspace, is what she called it. And I had never thought of this. So the reason that she says that you should do this is so when you share this video, if you want to, inside of your feed, Instagram crops it into a square, and obviously stories are an oblong, right? So when it crops it, if you have your head up here and it's just it'll crop off half your head. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe not so succinctly, but point being is she said you need to leave some space above your head so that when Instagram crops it, you have that space and your head's not getting cut off, which makes sense, or your chin or something, So think about that just from the standpoint of, maybe you lean back a little bit or you scrunch down a little bit or, whatever works, to where you have some head space. I thought that was a great tip and a great strategy. Let's see, Biggie. She said when you do the recording and at the bottom, you'll see all of your clips. And you can click on them, each individual one, and download them to your phone. Do them in order, guys. Don't just start clicking and, saving. Do them in order, because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time trying to figure out which piece goes first. That makes sense too. But again, I'm like, I probably would have done that, but would I have thought that of it? Sometimes the obvious just isn't a blinding flash of the obvious, right? So saving them in order will make it much easier when you import them into the tool to kind of, sew them back together, if you will. Now, she recommended, and I love this tool. I've used this tool a lot myself for other things. But now I'm going to be using it for Instagram stories. She recommended pulling all of those clips once you've downloaded them in order so that they are saved on your phone. She recommended a Videorama as the kind of the tool that'll kind of sew all these clips back together. And like I say, I'm a big fan of this tool. I've used it for a lot of other things. There's others as well. Like if you have iMovie on your phone already, iMovie will do exactly the same thing. I'm not as familiar with Android sources, so I should have researched that beforehand. So if you guys have any recommendations, and honestly, Videorama might be available on an Android. I'm sorry, I don't know. I should have, like I said, I usually try to research these things, and I totally forgot to do so. So that might be a great thing to keep in mind when you're trying to stitch things back together. Like I say, there's a variety of tools, but Videorama is the one she recommended, and I would recommend it. I would add my recommendation to that one as well. And then you just export it, and guess what? Then you have a video that you can share onto your IGTV, or this is where it gets super amazing. You can repurpose it. You don't have to just say, hey, this is going to be my new IGTV video. It can go on YouTube. You can share it on Facebook. You can share it other places. And now you have this high quality, snazzy look for all of your social platforms, essentially. You can even pull out pieces of that video and make them short snippets for, like, inside of your profile, or on Twitter or any of the other social platforms for that matter, where you're just giving a little brief intro into some of the content that you've talked about. So repurposing this is like the bomb diggity. I'm a huge, huge fan of repurposing content. We spend a lot of time creating content and we get a fraction of the juice out of it. So we need to squeeze that juice out of all of our content. And I think this would be a great way to do so. It's just, and it's already on your phone, very easy with just, drag and drop kind of system for you to create some amazing content or leverage the content that you're creating more fully. So, and then you just, like I say, you just rinse and repeat this process. But this is one other snippet that she shared, and I have just got to share this as well because I thought this was pretty brilliant. So go get this report yourself, guys, because I'm just pulling the things out that really resonated with me and I'm sharing them with you. But one thing that Shalene mentioned is, how like when you create a video and you render it and the thumbnails are chosen and you always have this like look on your face, like, right? They always choose the absolute worst thumbnail. Can I get an amen on that? I mean, if you've ever done any video content, you've done a Facebook Live or any of these platforms where there's thumbnails chosen for you. Sorry. Whoa. So sorry, guys. Ooh. Deep breath. This is one of those instances where you embarrass yourself on live video. But it's all good, right? Who doesn't get choked every once in a while? Okay. So the last thing, the last thing I want to share with you as it relates to, I'm just seeing some of the comments. So, okay, so Holly does say, yeah, the thumbnails are horrible. I mean, I don't know who chooses them or how they choose them, but I guess it's random. But it also showcases how, I mean, do we look like that? Like, right? It's like, do people, like, thank goodness, there's that, goes back to that old saying where your mom used to say, you shouldn't make faces like that because it's going to freeze. And you're like, yeah. How right she was, right? But anyway, so the last thing that I really picked up, and there's more, there was a lot of golden nuggets towards the end, but one of the things that she talked about was creating that thumbnail, the perfect thumbnail. and I thought this was super brilliant because you can replace your thumbnail inside of your IGTV or create one actually that goes, I guess it goes on the front side of your video. And she recommended going back into Instagram stories and just taking pulling up the focus again, using that as your option. You have all these options at the bottom. So using the focus option again and just taking a snapshot of yourself. And, you can practice, like you can, hey, I look good. Yeah. Just practice until you get one that you like or take as many as you want, essentially, and then use the one that you like. Again, making sure that you have a little bit of headspace so that if you're going to crop it, for example, and it shows in the feed, then, it'll show up correctly. And then when you do that, you pull that image into, like, I don't know, WordSwag or something and put your title on it. So now you have a really professional looking cover for your IGTV. I thought that was super brilliant, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So, like I say, do not miss out on this. There is a lot of other golden nuggets, and my golden nuggets might not be yours. What really resonated with me, and it might not, you may get a ton of other things out of it that, I didn't pick up on. So definitely go check it out. It's kimgarst.com/get-more-followers- with, sorry for all the dashes. But I would definitely recommend going and checking it out because there's a lot of really nifty tips and strategies inside of this. And I haven't seen a lot of people. Ooh, sorry guys. Let me take another sip. There you go, Paul. Just Paul just said, I've heard that the last frame is used, so it is suggested to give a nice smile and hold it as you end your stream. That's a great strategy too. But let's say you want to do something like fun, like, right? Then you could go back and like I say, do something cool or clever. Take as many pictures as you want until you get the one that's like right. Because even though you're like, okay, I'm smiling at the end, maybe your hair is sticking up, or who knows? There's a variety of different reasons that you might want to leverage that last little strategy. All right, and guys, I didn't say this earlier, but if you know anybody that would get value from this, if you know somebody that's been talking about, hey, I need to be on this IGTV thing, I hear it's the latest and greatest, feel free to share today's broadcast with them, even the coffin fit. Hopefully they won't mind. Appreciative of you guys hanging in there with me. I did this real quick story. This coffin fit made me think of this. I did this podcast interview when Pete and Andrew. Pete and Andrew. I don't know if you guys know Pete and Andrew, but if you don't, you need to. They're just hilarious. You can probably just Google them and you'll be able to find them. But I did this podcast interview with them when they first launched their podcast, and one of their things was you had to gargle some water and speak at the same time. And while it was fun, I got totally choked, and yeah, I thought they had killed me. I mean, it was that bad. I mean, of course they didn't kill me. That's an exaggeration, but it felt like I was dying in the moment. So, all right, do we have any questions? And I'd love to know, if you didn't type in your aha moments as we were going, do you have aha moments? Like, did anything really resonate with you today? Like, wow, I didn't know that. And I'm going to go try that. And if you're going to go try it, I want to know what it is. I want to know what you're going to go try. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Well, like I say, guys, I'm always appreciative. All right, so Paul says, yep, I can do that. Excellent. I'm excited. I hope that you guys will take some of these. Paul, I just got to talking and didn't drink enough water. So I got dry, and I should have drank a little as I was talking. I get excited about this stuff, and then I just talk and talk and talk, and then all of a sudden I have, I have a dry spell, and it creates the cough. But thank you. All right. Well, as always, guys, I'm super appreciative of the time that you spend with me. I hope you have a blessed day. And just a quick reminder, I have been doing these at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've bumped it to 1:30. I hope that's not a huge problem for everybody, but I'll be here again next Wednesday at 1:30 and maybe even sooner. But I'm going to do a standing show at least every Wednesday, 1:30. All right, looks like we do have a question here. It just came in. Okay, so Holly is saying, do you have to automatically use the 2-minute video on your IG, or can you upload it to stories later? Great question. And you do not have to automatically use it. So if you sit down and record, 2 minutes worth of content using the focus feature, and you save those clips, you can upload them later. Absolutely. So you don't have to do it automatically in the moment. Nor, by the way, guys, when you're creating this content, to leverage it from an IGTV standpoint, you can, of course, share it to your Instagram story as well, but you don't have to. In fact, the content could be exclusive to your IGTV. And again, that just depends on you. It depends on what your strategy is around that piece of content, essentially. But great question, Holly. All right. Oh, so Brenda asked another great question. She says, does it have a timer for the 2-minute limit? No, it doesn't. And that is you do have to start to pay attention towards the end. Like if you feel like you're getting close, you might want to pay attention. You record 2 minutes essentially. That's the way it would work. And then wherever you left off at, you would go back and start, like if it was longer than 2 minutes, you would download those clips and then you would go back into the Instagram story app, click the focus button again and press the record button, and you can record 2 more minutes. But you do have to have a stop point, so you know where your stop and start point is. Now, another, I personally prefer that. So I've been using this little strategy in the last couple of days. So for me, I'll just give you my quick little workaround. I try to pay attention when I feel like I'm getting towards the end, and I try to come to a stop point that I know is a stop point so I can control it. And then what I do is I start with my next 2-minute session with and know exactly where I'm at. So I try to be cognizant of it instead of worrying about having to clip one clip and, mess with all that. I don't want to mess with all that. So I just want to be able to download the clips and then sew them back together without having to worry about editing out part of something or on one side or the other of that tail end, that last clip of that 2-second or that 2-minute snippet. Hopefully that made sense. Brenda says, I think I'd totally lose track of time once I'm talking. Well, I would say, Brenda, a couple of ideas. So I did this when I first started. Maybe this will help you too. I don't know if I thought it was a way for me to do it. And it might be silly. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But what I did was I turned the volume way down on my phone. And then I had the little timer pop up, for me. Or another way to do it, because I was using another phone. I wasn't using the same phone that I was using for to record with. But a better way to use the same strategy is just to use an online timer and turn the volume off on your computer. And then you can, and just have it in front of you. Like, let's say, for example, your phone is right here, right? And you're using it, like whether you're holding it or whether it's in a tripod of some sort. And then your computer could be back behind that, and you could have a timer up. And then that way it would keep you on track. You would know that you were getting close to your 2-minute mark. That really helped me in the beginning. And now I can kind of gauge it. You get better at it, is my point. Ooh, good question. So does giveaways and contests boost followers? Absolutely. Yes. And that's true, honestly, across the board, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's on any social platform. People love to win stuff and they love to share that stuff. And if you incentivize them, even depending on how the contest is structured, incentivize them to share it, it absolutely works. So yes. And how often do you go live with IG? Okay, Andrea, great question. And I'm just going to be totally transparent with you. I've never gone live on Instagram, and I may never go live on Instagram. I haven't decided. But what I am going to do, and the reason, let me back up and tell you the reason that I may never go live on Instagram. I have. you can't use a tool right now to go live in multiple places. Well, you can use a tool to go live in multiple places, but Instagram is not one of those places. So it requires, going live, on Instagram through the app itself. So that's one kind of a drawback for me, just from a time perspective. And I feel like that's the stories and the IGTV piece is so much bigger, honestly, than just the live feature inside of Instagram. So my strategy on the short side of this is to leverage stories and IGTV. May circle back to Instagram Live, but right now that's not my focus. That doesn't mean there's not an opportunity there and that you wouldn't want to use it. That's just, for me, I haven't embraced that yet. Primarily right now, I'm going to be focused on Instagram and YouTube and building out my channel there, and of course here on Facebook. And interestingly enough, Periscope, hey, all you beautiful Periscope people, Periscope is still absolutely a interesting platform for me. I get a lot of connection, and I've only been on twice in like a while. But I guess because I've just got such a large Twitter community, it's really still working for me. So it's not dead. At least it's not dead for me. So that's what I'm saying. All right. Any last minute questions? Like I say, guys, I'm always appreciative of your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.